Well, it took 4 months, but here we are, the final Saturday of the college basketball regular season. We've already got a lot of the smaller conference tournaments underway and finishing up this weekend, and we've got the big guns starting up on Wednesday and Thursday. I've got 4 complimentary plays coming up here on the video report. New Mexico, San Diego State, UTEP-NC Charlotte, Utah, Stanford, Rutgers, Illinois, plus my thoughts on a couple of key SEC contests. Florida and Vanderbilt, Kentucky and Texas A&M. That's all coming up in today's report. But first, this important announcement. Listen, today, guys, you know it's Saturday. So each and every Saturday, I always give you a money-saving discount coupon code that could potentially save you hundreds of dollars off your total purchase price. But today, the single biggest coupon code of the college basketball season. It goes today. It'll save you 27% off your total purchase price. And I release it today rather than next week when we're in the midst of all the ACC and the SEC and the Big 12 tournaments, the big guns, for one reason. It's my way of rewarding those of you, the loyal customers, the guys that stay on after the Super Bowl and keep betting college basketball, for your patronage, because I know how it works. A lot of guys hang up their gone fishing signs right after the Super Bowl is played, and then they come back usually when the big college conference tournaments get underway on Wednesday and Thursday of this week, or definitely for the big dance. But this is my way of rewarding you for your steady play for these past 4 or 5 weeks. So again, you save 27% by using this coupon code. This will be the single biggest coupon again, discount offered through this college basketball season. The next time there'll be a coupon even matching this will be Final Four Saturday, the first weekend in April. So 27% off. As you know, it's a mix and match coupon. It's a one-time usage coupon, which means you have to put everything in your shopping cart at one time to maximize your savings. If you already have a package with a particular handicapper and you want to extend it out, you can do so. And if you have any instant rebates, they are applicable as well. Should you have any questions, you can always contact customer service. Boy, I haven't done that in like a year. I used to do it so much faster. Aren't you glad I slowed down? Must be because I'm sick. Okay, let's get to your free selections, and let's run them in reverse chronological order, which means we'll start with the New Mexico San Diego State contest, because all of you out there are just waiting to know what's going to happen in Albuquerque tonight, where New Mexico is a 1-point favorite. This is a game I actually like the Lobos a lot, if I knew with 100% certainty whether or not their top player, power forward Tim Williams, was going to absolutely play or not. Now, he's missed a month of action in 7 games because of a foot injury. They got rid of the walking boot. He returned to practice, medically cleared this past Monday. But will they take a chance and get him game action here today, or will they rest him for the upcoming Mountain West tournament in Las Vegas? It's a big question. Listen, this guy averages 17.9 points, 7 rebounds, 6'9" power forward. Without him, Lobos went 3-4. So you've got New Mexico and San Diego State, both teams 9-8 in Mountain West play. The winner of this game tonight gets the number 5 seed in the Mountain West tournament, and that will earn them the final bye into the quarterfinals. They don't have to play the first round or the play-in game per se, okay? Lobos just 4-4 straight up at the pit this season, but then again, they've been without Tim Williams for the past 7 games, okay? Meanwhile, San Diego State's coming off a 51-38 home win Wednesday against Air Force, 4 for 27 from three-point range. Now, they snapped a 2-game skid by winning that game, but they're just 3-5 on the conference road. San Diego State, a very good defensive team, Steve Fisher's squad is, but they just can't hit the broadside of the barn offensively. New Mexico won the first meeting in San Diego 68-62, January 1st. It was a game they trailed by 11 at halftime, but they closed on a 21-6 roll to win the game. Listen, New Mexico is the best shooting team in the Mountain West Conference, hitting at 45.6% field goal accuracy. San Diego State, the best defensive team in the Mountain West Conference, limiting foes to 38.7%. It's a pick'em game for a reason. I'm betting that Tim Williams sees some action, and just for the fact that his anticipated return is keeping this game close line-wise, I like New Mexico in this contest. Okay, UTEP was my 15-dime best bet on Thursday night. And I used it as my college dog of the month, and they were a 3 to 3.5 point underdog at home against Old Dominion. And third place, those two teams were tied for in Conference USA standings. And the winner of that game would clinch third place, get a first round bye in the tournament, well, the fourth place team was going to get a first round bye as well. But it was a big game in terms of seeding in the tournament because ultimately the third place team, should they advance, doesn't have to play number one Middle Tennessee State if they should advance until the championship game. So there was a lot riding on the game. And UTEP was a 15-time best bet, and I said that as my college dog of the month, I wouldn't be surprised if they won that game outright. Well, they trailed by 11 points in that game with about 7 minutes to go. And then they made a furious comeback. They come back, they take the lead, and then a foul in the act of shooting is called on UTEP, sending Old Dominion to the line with 1.7 seconds to play. The Old Dominion shooter hits both free throws. So UTEP gets the ball, they run it down the court. The basket is good on a tip-in. Celebration, crazy. And then the refs consult the replay and they wave it off. They say the tip-in came after the buzzer. So consequently, UTEP loses the game by one single point. But the Miners are still on an 11-3 roll straight up, and they've covered 12 straight games since losing 12 in a row straight up as part of a 2-13 start to the season. Now, they need to win today to clinch the fourth spot in the upcoming Conference USA tournament. And they're a 6.5-point favorite at home today against NC Charlotte. Now, right now, Rice and UTEP are tied at 11-6 in Conference USA. But when UTEP went on the road earlier actually it was in the middle of February for a 4-game road trip, one of those wins, they won outright as an 8-point dog at Rice. So they hold the tiebreakers. They won the only matchup with the Owls this season. So it's a must-win situation for UTEP. NC Charlotte, not good. I mean, listen, NC Charlotte is coming off a big win. Who did they beat? 76-75. Let's see. Who the hell did they beat? Oh, they beat Texas San Antonio as a 1.5-point underdog the other night. And they won the game when their leading scorer hit a 3-pointer at the buzzer. Hey, they were 1-6 on the conference road before that game. That was only their third cover in the last 10 games, period. And they had failed to cover their previous 6 games on the road anyway. So I'm willing to lay the 6.5 points because a lot of people say, oh, this is a prime letdown situation for UTEP. I say differently. This team has been playing on such an accelerated pace now. Tim Floyd, such a defensive genius, their head coach. He'll throw everything that you can imagine, like the kitchen sink defensively. He'll throw man-to-man. He'll play 2-3, 1-3-1. He'll play box and one. I mean, he plays every type of defense, and these college kids, 9 times out of 10, have never seen half of the defensive schemes he throws out there. And I think that UTEP is playing a team that obviously is not nearly as tough as Old Dominion was. And this is a team, again, that has covered 12 straight games. So until that streak ends, I'm willing to lay the points, and I've used them many, many times here on the video report, and of course is my best bet on Thursday, and I'm willing to lay the points with the Miners against an NC Charlotte team that was fortunate to win the other night, finally, on the road. Your next complimentary play, let me just see here. Again, I want to run these. I'm going to go with Utah. I like Utah minus the points at home now against Stanford. And this is a big revenge situation for the Utes here. And because what happened is that the first time that these two played, Utah lost outright at Stanford. But there were mitigating circumstances in that game because 2 nights earlier, Utah had lost in double overtime at California. So I think it was just a difficult spot. They were on the road less than 48 hours after losing in double overtime in Berkeley. They were taking on Stanford, and the Cardinal beat them. But now they're back at home. And you know, Utah just the other night beat the hell out of California at home, played their best defensive game of the entire season. Meanwhile, Stanford lost yet again on the road, getting crushed at Colorado. And that's what Stanford does on the road. They just play awful on the road. 91-72 loss at Colorado on Thursday. They're 1-7 on the Pac-12 road. Their lone win coming at Oregon State. Everybody beats Oregon State. Utah lost the first game 81-75 as a 2.5-point favorite on February 4th. Again, they committed 17 turnovers in that game. They only shot 44% in that game. They played no defense as Stanford shot 54%. And the Cardinal, not that good of a shooting team anyway. I just think that in this particular spot, Utah coming off the 30-point win against Cal the other night, a game in which the Bears only scored 44 points. This is a great spot for them. But, you knew there had to be a but. Okay, here's the thing. California is seeking a first-round bye by earning the 4th seed in the Pac-12 tournament, okay? And by winning, they get it. But here's the interesting thing. This game might be a moot point for Utah by the time they take the court because California plays earlier in the day. In fact, California tips off 2 hours earlier at Colorado. Now, if California, a team that shot 29% at Utah the other night and scored just 44 points, loses at Colorado, well, then automatically Utah clinches that 4th seed. So then you have to be wondering about the motivation. However, I still think Utah is a good play laying the points because they're looking to end the season on a high note. They're playing at home. It's senior day, and they're playing in revenge. So no matter what Cal does earlier in the day, I still think this is the way to go in this game with Utah backing them at home. The other play, I'm going to go with Illinois minus the 3.5 at Rutgers. You know, the Illini have suddenly put themselves in bubble consideration, 18-12 straight up, 8-9 in conference and Big Ten play. They've suddenly started to hit from the outside, 24 three-pointers in their last 2 wins, and that's the key for them. You know, they average almost 9 3-pointers in their 18 wins this season, but in their 12 losses, only 5.5 3-pointers a game. Now, Rutgers is a good defensive team. Number 55 in the country in 3-point defense. Number 44 in the country in overall field goal defense. Number 58 in scoring defense, only allowing 67.2 points a game. Problem with the Scarlet Knights? They're just as anemic, just as awful offensively. They just can't score. There are 343 Division I teams. They are ranked 313 in field goal offense. Percentage shooting, 41.2%. They're number 319 in scoring, averaging just 65.8 points. Illini have won 4 straight after losing 9 of 13. They're coming off a big win at home against Michigan State, 73-30. They won at Nebraska. They beat Northwestern at home. They won at Iowa. They're forcing a lot of turnovers in these most recent games. Michigan State and Iowa. Key to those wins. They forced 15 turnovers in each of those games. Key to beating Nebraska and Northwestern. They held both the Wildcats and the Hornhuskers to under 40% shooting in those games. Scarlet Knights have lost 6 in a row, 16 of their last 18. They're 1-7 in conference home games this season. They're 2-15 overall in the Big Ten. Illinois, 4-0 lifetime in the series, 2-0 last year, although in Piscataway last year, they needed triple overtime. Let's hope they don't need that one for the sake of this free play. That's why I'm laying the points with Illinois. So again, recapping the free plays, I'm going with New Mexico at home, UTEP at home, Utah at home, and Illinois on the road. Now, let's talk about these 2 games in the SEC. I kind of find them fascinating here. In the early game, you've got Kentucky going at noon, a 7-point favorite at Texas A&M. And everybody knows what happened early in the SEC season when in Lexington, the Wildcats destroyed Texas A&M 100-58. Their defense forced the Aggies into 28 turnovers. Not surprising because according to KenPom.com, the Aggies turned the ball over on almost 22% of their possessions this season, which is 321st in the nation, which sucks, okay? Now, they're a lousy free throw shooting team. They're a good rebounding team. They're playing at home. And they're a big team where Kentucky is more of a guard-oriented team that, forces a lot of turnovers. They're the more athletic team. Kentucky's come off 7 straight wins. Huge home sweep. Revenge win against Florida. Rallied from 19 down. I had Vanderbilt that night. Rallied from 19 down against Vanderbilt and won, but did not cover the 12.5-point spread against the Commodores. This is a tough spot, though. I mean, on paper, Kentucky is clearly the better team. But this is a team, Kentucky, that lost to Tennessee. They got hammered at Florida. And all 3 of Kentucky's visits to College Station have resulted in overtime games. And they lost last year in overtime, in fact, 79-77. And here's an interesting stat I found in researching this game. Malik Monk, who is the best offensive player for Kentucky. In SEC home games this year, he's a 50% shooter, averaging 25.4 points a game. In SEC road games this season, he's a 39.7% shooter, averaging 18.2 points a game. So which Kentucky team shows up? I'd lean toward Kentucky. Obviously, Kentucky has a 1-game lead over Florida with the SEC crown right there, okay? Now, Florida, of course, is playing at Vanderbilt. Normally, I'd say Vanderbilt, a 4.5-point dog at home, has a big task ahead of it because you had Kentucky on the ropes in Lexington, and then you allowed them to come back and win the damn game outright. How do you pick yourself up? But the fact is the Commodores were playing pretty damn good before taking on Kentucky. And the fact is, they went into Gainesville and they handed Florida their only SEC home loss this season, 68-61 January 21st, because they have size. And that's something Florida doesn't have. And here's another thing. They are 16-14 on the season, and no team has ever received an at-large berth with more than 14 losses. Well, if they lose today, that would be 15. And you know they damn well aren't going to win the damn SEC tournament, right? So, and they've also lost their tournament opener each of the past 3 years. And not one guy on this team has ever played in a winning SEC tournament game. So, again, a big challenge for Vanderbilt. Florida, a win would absolutely clinch a top 4 seed in the Big Dance. Probably put the Gators in Orlando, and you couldn't ask for more than that. But you got a Vandy team that's ranked number 2 in overall strength of schedule this year, number 1 in non-conference strength of schedule. I don't think Vandy is going to wilt here, but this game is at 2 o'clock. So if Kentucky wins earlier, this game for Florida means nothing in terms of the SEC, okay? Their seeding is already set, and it really means more to them to get revenge and more for them to solidify their Big Dance seeding down the road post-SEC tournament. That's what this game really means for them. So that's why I lean a little toward Vanderbilt. But again, it's one of those situations where you have to look at when the game is played and what the outcome of the earlier game is, just like I told you about the California-Stanford outcome may be affected by the earlier game between California and Colorado. So again, I lean toward Vanderbilt and Kentucky, and of the two, I'd like Vanderbilt a little more to pull the outright upset as the home dog. So there you go. That's your breakdown for Saturday's games. I wish you well, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow when we do this one more time.